Right into the stretch, looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live to the best damn Cincinnati sports podcast this side of Moeller High School. My name is Santori Miles. We got Cincy James. We got Big Savage Greg. And for the first time in a millennia, we got Bengal Dad. He's back.
Welcome back, bro.
With nothing behind him. Did you get robbed?
I got robbed. I feel like the Bengals. Burrow went out. I was gone. It was all over. I haven't been back since Burrow started the game.
Well, the last time you were criticizing Jake Browning, and when he played well, we thought Bengal Dad went into hiding and all that because I think Jake Browning thought of you, and I think you went into hiding or something.
He should have kept thinking about me.
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of
He forgot about me in the second half of that Kansas City game.
Yeah.
Hey, but we're not here to talk the Bengals, right?
What?
Are we?
What?
I don't know. What are you talking Bengals?
What
We've got
are we
Reds.
talking about? Bearcats? What are we talking about?
We've got some Reds news. We've got some Bengal news. We got it's kind of the off season. It's that gray area right before March Madness. We got some playoff stuff to talk about. But why would I say this side of Moeller High School? What's happened in the last week?
Brett Suter.
Brett Suter!
That's
I was
right.
so fired up. We said like 2 weeks ago, Dad, I think you and I were talking on the phone. I said, I'd go get the Suter kid. He's still out there. I didn't know he was 34 when I called him a kid, but he's still a great left-handed arm. They freaking loaded up the bullpen this year.
He is the guy that winds up like he's a puppet, right?
I think so.
He does this. I think it's him.
Keeping
Okay.
that hitter off balance. That's
Yeah.
right.
Go
But
big
last season in Colorado, we can all agree, Colorado's not an easy place. When you're a pitcher, the last place you want to be pitching is in Colorado. 3.38 ERA, 57 appearances, 669 1/3 innings, career ERA of 3.49. I mean, this kid is legit. I mean, this is a huge addition to our bullpen.
And he's left-handed.
Yes, left-handed death.
If you've got an ERA under 3.4 in Colorado through 70 innings,
Yes.
okay.
And
I know Great American Small Park's not much better, but
No.
it's probably comparable in terms of ERA, and I'll take 3.3.
I think he gave up either 0 or 1 home run at home last year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, and like a certain amount of appearances, it's like a ridiculous amount of appearances. I know exactly what you're talking about, James. I think it's like
3 appearances.
somewhere around there, but it's ridiculous. I mean, in Colorado, that's what got me sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm liking that they're going out and getting some arm talent. Now, I think, Greg, you've said it before. It'd be nice if there was maybe another starter added, but then I think about Santori, and I think about how he's like,
think
who
about
you
me?
cutting? Who you cutting?
You think about me?
Who's not going to be in the rotation out of the 83 guys we've got that could potentially be a starter?
No, the guy we just signed, the other kid we signed recently, is also capable of starting. He actually threw a no-hitter and all that, which was Tyler Gilbert. He's probably going to – but, hey, Bengal Dad, another left-handed depth we signed, adding to the depth.
What would be a big shot in the arm for this team is if Lodolo could stay healthy and actually be as good as people say he is.
Yeah,
That would be very helpful.
Will he be ready for the start of the season, though?
Has he ever been? I don't know. He's always hurt.
He is the new Sean Marshall.
Yeah.
Big, tall left-hander who's always hurt.
yeah,
Is he even here? Is he under contract? What's happening?
right.
He is an enigma.
He does have a bobblehead day.
He does have a bobblehead day.
Oh, cool.
Let's see if he's still here by bobblehead day.
We were worried about Jonathan India last year with his bobblehead day, and then he made it.
Do you still think there's a chance Jonathan India's not here by opening day, or is it pretty much a done deal? He's here.
I mean, I think there's always a chance anybody could get traded.
Right.
But with the fact that the roster,
I just don't think they can move him.
I don't think they can move him. They're in the middle of arbitration right now. Nobody knows what he's going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're experimenting now with playing him in the outfield.
I think they were 700,000 apart. I think the Reds are at 3.3 and he was at 4.
That's not much.
Right.
You could sneeze and find $250,000 in baseball.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the other issue. I think they would if they could, because where are you playing him?
Yep.
There's no position for it. Now, if you're going day to day to day, yeah, he probably could still play every single day, especially if he can figure out left field.
Mm-hmm.
Between DH, Ellie getting a day, Marte getting a day, McLean getting a day, Steer getting a day, Fraley or whoever getting a day in the outfield, or DH. I mean, yeah, he could probably play every single day, but he's going to be your super ultra utility guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing that with a guy that can't play defense.
You're doing right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
You're doing it with a guy that struggles in defense, and we know what happens, Tyler Stevenson, when you rotate guys around too often instead of just let them play their position. They suffer offensively. It takes special players to be able to do that. I don't know if that's Jonathan India.
That's Spencer Steer.
It is Spencer Steer.
Yeah, they need to move away from Jonathan India.
He's
going to do nothing but screw things up.
I don't know if he'll screw things up.
They're going to force him in places, and he's going to be he'll be a downgrade at every defensive spot that he replaces that day. It makes no sense. You're playing in a park that gives up a lot of runs, and you're going to put one of your worst defenders out there every day, or just not every day?
Or what's going to happen is they're going to save him every single day for when David Bell makes his wholesale changes when someone brings in a lefty late, and you go on your run of 4 straight right-handed pinch hitters. He'll be in that.
Dare I say I'd rather have Senzel in that spot?
Yes, I would too.
Really?
You crushed lefties.
And he wouldn't cost you $3.3 to $4 million either.
No, he cost you 1.2.
Yeah. What about that kid Sailor that's still out there? That kid, I think we talked about a little bit. The kid from Miami, he's still out there. We just don't have room, right? There's just no way to.
You've got right now, by my count, 38 guys. And I know there's a 40-man roster, and you've got like 6 on a taxi squad.
Yep.
But you've got 7 or 8 guys that you're going to have to cut or move to AAA. I mean, you'll be able to keep all of them on your 40, maybe, because that means there's going to be some high-level prospects you got to cut.
Right.
So there's going to be some unprotected movement or some cuts. Because keep in mind, the first week of April, there's going to be some guys that get cut that you go, ooh, I want to have him too.
Right.
There's going to be those Scooter Gennett situations where you pick a guy up that you're not thinking about. This roster's far from being complete. So take the bottom 12 to 13 guys right now that you're looking at and get rid of them. And there's some good talent there right now. It's a good problem to have. They've finally taken an approach to the offseason that makes sense. And it's probably because they don't have contracts like Joey Votto and Moustakas anymore. You don't have $40 million wrapped up between 2 guys. You can afford to go get 5, 6, 7 different guys at different positions and go have fun.
And the majority of the media is
they need to not be afraid. Oh, go ahead, James.
Oh, I was just saying, and the majority of the media is actually on board with the moves that the Reds are making too, and that normally doesn't happen.
Never.
Well, no, they've loaded up on bullpen arms and they went out and got a bat.
They need to not be afraid to move some of these young guys.
Yeah.
We all are enamored with all these young guys. At the end of the day, 5 years from now, 20 or 30% of them are going to probably be out of the majors. Something's going to happen. It just always does.
20 to 30% will be out of the majors. And of the guys that you're counting on, how many are you going to actually be able to retain in 6 or 7 years?
Right.
If you've got a handful of guys, right? So let's go down the list of guys that are kind of under that rookie control right now. Between Abbott and Marte and Ellie and Steer, McLean and Friedel. Are you going to keep all of those 7 years from now?
No way.
No.
Right.
Give it your run for a year or two, and then go load up again. Because they need
to trade a couple of those kinds of players
every
for
year.
A stud pitcher and about 2 or 3 mid to high level prospects that are going to come up again in 2 to 3 years.
Well,
No,
They need to fortify it that way, I think.
Now, I will say, I kind of want to revisit this because all of these guys that are up here right now, and the reason that we're as potent as we are right now, or at least that we think we are, spins from that offseason where they traded everybody inexplicably out of nowhere, and we all lost our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Do we give them credit for that? Because they were still kind of close, and they blew it up. And they've recovered nicely, in my opinion. I
don't think we're ever going to know if they were smart or if they were lucky.
It worked.
I was going to say time will tell. This year into next year,
when they go to do it again, inevitably in 3 years, because that's just kind of the Cincinnati Reds cycle. We'll see.
Yeah.
But they landed on their feet because, man, it looked like doomsday when they first did all this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious what this team looks like through the course of the year coming up.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Last year, do we even remember? James, I know you watched. I don't know about you guys. I did not pay attention to the Reds till like that second half. I was a admitted bandwagon fan the second half. I filled out my paper. I had my uncle, who was an attorney, look it over, and he let me back on the bandwagon. So
you're a fake fan. You're a fake fan.
Oh!
Yes, I'm an admitted fan. I filled out my paper. I told people I was – because I'm a hypocrite with the Bengals because I kicked a lot of people in the Bengals off. So I went through the process. I filled out my papers and all that. But did you guys honestly remember – did we get excited all one bit last year about the Reds roster? Does anybody remember? Because I don't.
Did we get excited early?
No, did we even talk about the Reds roster last year?
We did close to the All-Star break when they were like thinking about calling up CES. Because then you're starting to go, well, Steer's playing well. And McClain's carrying this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Ellie's a roller coaster. And Marte's up and he's starting to hit. And it's like, oh my God, they had one more piece because Friedel was hitting 300 seemingly the whole year. Fraley was raking as he did. And it was like, there was a time around the All-Star where we're going, holy hell, where are we going to hit all these guys?
We're supposed to lose 100 games, so like you say. But Bengal Dad, I want your take on this Frankie guy, Montez. Were you happy that we got him?
I don't know who he is.
That kid
Good
from
talk.
the Yankees.
Well, I know who he is, but I've never seen him pitch. I don't know anything about him.
Could be another Sonny Gray type of deal. Pitch well for the A's, does bad for the Yankees, but could do good for us here.
I knew who Sonny Gray was when we got him, and I was excited. Yeah. I do not know who Munoz is.
Same kind of situation, but he had a PED run in about 3 or 4 years ago. And you know me, I hate steroids.
Yep.
I absolutely hate PEDs and steroids. I talked to my wife about this, and I think she was very, very confused and surprised that I said this. The more and more time goes on, I don't know how much PEDs bother me anymore, strictly because they're not just straight muscle enhancers that guys are using. It's not like guys are just using HGH and steroids like they were in the 90s and ballooning up. Most PEDs that guys use now are Adderall. It's just, hypersensitivity and more for focus. And I get the same thing drinking a Monster energy drink. I mean, if you look at the banned substance list, it's like, really? That's what guys are getting in trouble for?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's a case-by-case thing, but when I hear a guy got caught with PEDs now, I'm like, that could be fucking anything. There's so much. Like, Edinson Volquez got hit with a fertility drug.
Right.
Where's that man Ramirez got busted with one time?
He got hit with roids. That one was
okay. So
that one was actually roids.
Okay,
but the PED thing with Montez, I don't know exactly what it was that he was taking, but you can't ask these guys to take as many supplements as they are, and then get tripped up on something that is like Adderall. It's like, really? That's The PED thing just doesn't bother me as much. Now, if I find out it's HGH and you're blowing up like a balloon, we're going to have a talk. Mm-hmm. But the things that help you focus and dial in a little bit, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And talking about retooling the farm system in a few years, we just signed 15 international players, with one of them being the number 5 player in the pipeline.
Didn't we sign some kid from Australia who's like 15?
We might have, actually.
I know that. I think there's a kid in the draft this year from Australia who could be the top prospect, and maybe the Reds could get him number 2. But I I don't know about that though.
But it's just like Santori talked about a few weeks ago. Like, you've got the draft that you can retool, you got trades that you can retool, and then you've got this international pool of players that aren't in the draft. And we just signed 15 of them, with one of them being the number 5 prospect. We might have just retooled.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, they've got a pretty deep farm system.
Yes.
Right.
And
now.
not to mention number 2 pick of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, you've got guys like Rhett Lauder who aren't close yet. I mean, you've got Cam Collier down there who's not really close. There's a couple more shortstops down there. And the guys that we're talking about now being here just got here. I mean,
For some reason, I thought Rhett Lauder was close.
I think he's got another year or two.
What about that?
He was like 22, and if I remember right.
I think his ETA is 25.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be any time this year.
I got
What
you.
about Petty, the guy we got for Sonny Gray?
Yeah, Petty's supposed to be good. I mean, they got all kinds of guys down there right now, plus whatever they just signed from overseas.
And that lends to what Bengal Dad was saying about, we do have a ton of guys. Maybe don't be afraid to get rid of 1 or 2 of them.
Exactly.
And get an arm.
Bieber. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I coughed.
I know, Justin.
Hey, in the words of Justin Bieber, never say never.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, don't sing anymore. Dad, are you going to opening day?
No,
Okay, good talk.
they lose every game I go to. I'm not going to. I'm just hoping they get out of April at or above 500 and not like 10 games under. They
Well, you don't
start
want-
off every year.
You don't want to start
in the
3-15 again?
No.
Come on.
Makes it tough. I'll admit.
I'm really curious to see how all these young players play in their second year. A lot of times that second year really, really trips you up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a whole year of tape and data now. Scouting reports are different. We always kind of talk about it in the NFL. Here comes everybody's adjustments. How do you adjust to the adjustment?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just going to be a game of chess and cat and mouse for the rest of your career. And it's just going to
It'd
go in
be
cycles.
really nice if Ellie figured it out.
Oh,
Because Ellie could be a mega star if he would figure it out.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
with the amount of raw power and bat speed that he has, if he could just square the ball up a little bit more, he would hit 40 home runs a year.
Mhm.
Easy.
Like
It'd be
I say,
an
like
easy 40.
3 or 4% more of the time.
Right.
Like
just
you can-
cut down the strikeouts. I mean, even when he mishits them. I mean, when he connects, they're like, all right, well, that's going to land in Kentucky somewhere. I don't need to hit it that far. But, like, I've seen him mishit one off the bat and it go out in left field by the pole.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, just put the bat on the ball. Like, you've got so much raw ability.
And
Just-
the speed.
I don't even need you to
do.
I don't even need you to hit it solid. Just fucking hit it.
And then it'll
And
be
if it's on the ground, you're going to give everybody a heart attack. So
Exactly.
just put it in play. Good things
Right.
happen when Ellie puts the ball in play.
Yes, it does.
Now, speaking of Ellie, because I just thought about TJ Friedel and him putting the ball in play, would you want him to bunt at all?
Oh, sure. I don't get.
You talking
I'm
about
not.
Ellie or Friedel?
Ellie.
I'm not one of these
Oh,
guys
yeah.
that's like, oh, you're a power hitter. Hit.
Yeah.
Dude,
see,
get on
I'm,
base.
I'm all for it.
He's Billy Hamilton with power, is what he
Yeah.
is. So why not have him bunt more? And he'll be at third base before you know it anyway.
Billy got on base more.
No, I was told that by another person. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Billy
He's
was
been
better
up-
on
he's
defense.
been up
Billy
for
was better on
coffee
defense.
so far.
Billy was a better defender.
Yeah,
Billy was a better base stealer.
he's a better base stealer. Yeah,
Billy
And that will
had-
be the show. I'm terrible at batting in the video game with Ellie, but I think that's why it's realistic at times.
Yeah.
So,
Billy had a superior glove. Billy didn't miss shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a
And I
heck of a
think
center fielder.
I truly believe Billy was faster. Maybe it's because he was smaller and he covered the same amount of ground, but to me that means you're moving faster.
and he drank Mountain Dew too.
I don't think Billy was faster.
I think he was.
It's close.
Billy was a perfect baseball player in my mind. Don't ruin it. He
You
didn't
would've
do
won
anything
the-
wrong.
Who would have won in the race, Billy Hamilton or John Ross, when they tried to organize that till Marvin said no?
I saw John Ross run fast one time as a Bengal, and then he fumbled
Yeah,
and he hurt his knee. It was all in that one game, a preseason game.
Against
I have some money on Ross.
It was against Houston.
Yeah, I was at that
gave him
game.
an end around. He started burning around the corner. We went, yeah. Oh, all right.
Boom.
I was at that game.
Oh my
And that was the
gosh.
end of John Ross.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, that's a good transition into some Bengals talk.
All right. Let me switch the little background here.
We can skadoot over there.
So
There we are. We're ready now.
what do you want to talk about, Dan Pitcher?
Let's talk about Dan Pitcher, because there's about a 95% chance at this moment he's going to be your offensive coordinator.
You know, I
Yep.
never saw his picture until today.
I've seen him.
They post his picture all the time when they mean to talk about Brian Callahan. Like
Yep.
5 news outlets did it. And they're like, here's Brian Callahan. It's like, that's not Brian Callahan. That's Dan Pitcher. So his picture's wrong.
So
Uh,
Joke's on you.
would we prefer if Callahan goes for Pitcher to be the offensive coordinator or for Pitcher to go also?
I
Do we
want
think the Bengals will make an attempt to get a high-profile, young gun offensive coordinator to reinvigorate this offense? Because this offense is stale.
No.
No, Pitcher's going to be on.
I would almost bet in the ranch that's going to be Pitcher.
Yeah. I
What
mean,
if both of them are gone?
I don't think
Are they going to go
will.
down to the water boy and make him the next
I-
guy?
I think
No,
what's going to
exactly.
happen is they're going to wait to see what happens with Callahan, which is, I think, at this point, a foregone conclusion. And then as soon as that happens, I think Pitcher's got first right of refusal. I think they've probably already had that conversation in-house.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if the Bengals have to, they will block Pitcher for interviews just to keep him in. I know we hear this all the time, but I've heard this especially with Dan Pitcher. He is so respected.
yes.
He really, 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 really is a hot name. The fact that he's been a quarterback's coach and people want him as their offensive coordinator in other organizations, typically you don't make that jump.
Mhm.
Well, the last quarterback's coach we hired to make an offensive coordinator did not work out very well.
I understand that.
Zampese.
I understand that. But Zamp was one of those guys from the Marvin Lewis era who just didn't really need to still be here.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that just kept lasting forever and ever and ever. Dan Pitcher was a guy they had to go out and get.
Let me ask a blasphemous question.
Okay.
Who was Cleveland's offensive coordinator who's now available?
Our old quarterback coach,
Yep.
Who?
Van Pelt. He was our
Mhm.
quarterbacks coach that we had to get rid of because he got hired away. And
Yep.
that's when we promoted Dan Pitcher.
And then they fired him stupidly.
Well,
So he's
I
available.
thought Cleveland's offense played very well considering they went through 25 quarterbacks.
Thank you.
They lost their best offensive player early in the season.
Right.
You know, that guy's available and he used to be ours.
Mhm.
I was telling Santori this. I said to Santori,
It
why
wouldn't surprise me if he ends up back here.
Really? As a quarterback coach? Or
Sure.
what if
I don't-
someone tries to give him an OC job somewhere?
Well, I mean, there's going to be competition. It just wouldn't surprise me if he ends up back here.
But no, Santori, because I told this to you. So Bengal Dad, before you came on, I was telling Santori, why the heck would they get rid of all these position coaches? What they had to work with. They did a heck of a job. And Santori, could you elaborate on that, why they did this?
Well, I talked to Dad about this probably at 9 a.m. This is my working theory. My working theory is that the Browns have so much invested in Deshaun Watson that they are rolling with Deshaun, and those other guys don't want to do that or be part of that program. And Stefanski had to get rid of them, or it was going to be his head instead. So he's going to have to retool a staff if he wants to stay with Cleveland. And I mean, I just think that the ownership's going, it's Deshaun, and you're going to be with Deshaun, and all those other guys went, no, fuck that. So they're out.
If only they had a quarterback
If that's
like
the reason. Go ahead, James.
I was just saying, if only they had a quarterback like I don't know, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love that.
Sorry.
Well, if their reason for doing that, which we have no idea, but if it was,
It's a working theory.
what you're surmising, that trade just keeps killing that team.
Mm-hmm.
It's the epitome of Cleveland.
Yep.
It really is.
Look at the performance of Njoku this year, and they got rid of their tight ends coach too.
Well, they always pick the wrong damn people.
Right.
And I'm put them on blast for a minute here. they hired Dorsey as the GM, and I remember they hired him. I called you, Dad, and went, that's a fucking problem because that's the guy that built KC.
Right.
And then they fired him. And then guess what? Then they had Freddie Kitchens doing a good job, and they fired him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally had Baker Mayfield win a playoff game, and they fired him.
Yep.
And then they finally get to the playoffs again with a backup quarterback. It was just a great job done by the coaching staff, and they fired them all.
It seems like a gross overreaction to the playoff game.
They just can't. And this is the thing with Cleveland, and this isn't anything new. I know I just kind of went back to the Hugh Jackson era. Go all the way back to when they first got back in the league as the new Cleveland Browns. They are the most reactive team I've ever seen. How many quarterbacks, how many head coaches, how many coordinators, how many GMs? They never let somebody have 3 to 4 years to establish a culture, relationship, or system. If it doesn't work within the first 18 months, they shit can it and start over.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how the NFL works.
Nope.
And they wonder why they can't get off their fucking ass and do anything right. They don't give anything time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's a long documented history of Cleveland going, it kind of worked for 18 months. Because there were times I'm going, oh, shit, they're getting it together. All right, well, they just fired the GM. Never mind.
I never understood.
Oh, shit, they won a playoff game against Pittsburgh. Who thought? Well, never mind, they got rid of that quarterback to bring in a fucking pedophile. Like, it's...
Yeah.
I don't know what you want.
They're the polar opposite of the Steelers.
Yes.
Because the Steelers, Tomlin's got a job the rest of his life if he wants it.
They stay the course regardless because they trust the process that they're doing. Cleveland has literally had the process work in front of them and then fire the people that just – it's like they expect Super Bowl or we're starting over, and there's no reason for that organization to expect anything like that.
You say, Tori, you brought up Dorsey. Where's he at now? Is he even general managing somewhere or –
I have no idea where he's at.
That's good. I can't believe he hasn't found a job. I mean, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying, man. I just never understood that with their philosophies. Hey, Haslam is just like, I don't know what his deal is.
Hey, guess where John Dorsey's at? He's
Where?
in the front office for the fucking Lions.
Oh my God.
There's your answer.
Wow.
He's running the Lions.
Who haven't done crap for years. So you tell me
He's the
that's
senior personnel executive for the Lions.
Wow.
And he's been there for how long? 3 years since Cleveland canned him. He just turned the Lions around.
Yeah.
He was part of the Stafford trade. He's part of the reason they got Goff. He's part of the reason they got Gibbs and Dan Campbell.
Wow.
He's doing it again.
Well,
You tell me if that's a coincidence.
they learned from their previous man, though, Art Modell, who fired Paul Brown, who fired Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you kidding me?
I don't get that.
Yep. Yeah, they had Belichick and Saban on the same staff.
It's a good thing Jim Brown doesn't play right now because he'd be out.
Ozzie Newsome was the general manager too. Well, I think that's when they moved to Baltimore. So
But still.
he's went to Detroit. Wow, you tell me that's a coincidence. You tell me if that's just a big coincidence.
Right.
Oh my God. I'm just because I've been wondering where he went to. I didn't follow it that close. I just do Google John Dorsey and it says Lions. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, the freaking new kids on the block. There it is.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Does that surprise you? No.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm not surprised.
The guy built Kansas City. He rebuilt Cleveland,
Yeah.
and now he's built Detroit.
That's a Hall of
Dude's
Fame.
a Hall of Fame GM.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
Oh,
teams
my
that have
God.
been in the dump.
Think about Cleveland. They've had Deshaun now for 2 years.
Yep.
They've had Chubb for a half a dozen years or whatever it is. They've had Garrett for all these years.
They've had Amari
never
Cooper
been
for
better.
a run, too.
They've
Right.
never been better than what they were right now. And they got rid of everybody. This is the best they've been probably ever as the Cleveland Browns since they came back in 99.
I hope Callahan,
I know they won the playoff game.
let's hope Callahan takes a stab with him. The offensive line coach for Cleveland, let's hope he takes him with him because he's managed to have a good offensive line. I hope he takes him with him.
Right.
I know they beat us.
So did they get rid of Callahan also?
No, but
He's still
some
that would've been
believe,
awesome.
some believe that if Callahan, leaves the Bengals, which is going to happen, that he may take a stab with him
Oh,
from Cleveland.
I wish Cleveland would have got rid of him and then we could have got rid of Frank. I would have done that one.
Yeah, I like Frank, but that would have been a pretty.
That's an improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I like you, Frank, but come on, like we all. There's always someone better. It is what it is.
Right. And real quick, so Dan Pitcher has been. The Saints have asked for permission to interview him for their offensive coordinator position.
Yeah, that's going to be
touch on that.
That's going to be temporarily blocked, or they're going to drag their feet before they give it okay.
Right.
Because and Callahan's got his second interview with the Titans this week. He's going back for an in-person interview. He's going to have whatever job he wants. I mean, this is a stat that blew my mind. He's currently the longest tenured offensive coordinator in the NFL.
I saw that too.
What?
I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't believe that either. No.
Oh my! I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had to recheck, double check, read it again, and look it up for myself. He is currently the longest tenured offensive coordinator in the NFL.
Wow.
That again shows you how reactionary the league is. Nobody sticks with anybody long enough to get anything figured out. But he's the longest tenured one. He's been to 2 AFC championship games. He's been to a Super Bowl. He just did what he did with Jake Browning. He's got a winning record as a coach in Cincinnati, and he's got all the experience in the world with Joe Burrow. It's not necessarily has he called plays, what's he done. Some people, when they're just looking to add juice or a new perspective to their organization, has this guy been around winning?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been to 3 straight winning seasons in Cincinnati. And for enough, some people are going to hear that and go, all right, let's go. We like what Taylor did. He was part of it.
Well, no. Now, here's another guy we have to worry about leaving also. Troy Walters. Don't forget, he got interviewed twice last year. Could you see Callahan taking him with him when he goes?
I don't know. I'm not really worried about losing Troy Walters.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
I mean, we were worried about losing Dan Pitcher as a wide receivers coach, and he just became a great quarterback coach.
Yep.
And, we were worried about losing Van Pelt because he was a really good quarterback coach.
Right.
And you got Dan Pitcher in the wings. I mean, it's at some point, the replacement game does stop at some point, and you do run out of good options. But I trust what Zach's been doing. Every time he's made a coaching change, it seems like it's been an improvement.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of one position. The only time it was a downgrade is when he went from Pollock to Jim Turner initially, and then they brought Pollock back.
Right.
Everybody else has either stayed the course or been an upgrade, in my opinion. So there is some level of just trust Zach.
Yep.
He knows what he's looking for.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. And even when they brought Pollock back, the offensive line has improved slightly. It's not like it's as bad as it was.
It's slightly below average is where it is now.
Yeah, and it was putrid before.
Oh, big improvement compared to dead legs.
It's improved. It hasn't improved as much as I hoped it would. But at the same time, they're not investing any draft picks and talent. They went out and got Ted Karras, who by all means is a slightly above average center. Okay. They went out and got Kappa, who by all means is an average right guard. They have a 4th round pick playing out of position at left guard. They spent big money on Orlando Brown, first year in the system, gave up a shit ton of pressure, but was an improvement over Jonah. And then they moved the problem at left tackle, which was Jonah, to right tackle, which was still a problem. They haven't really gone out and invested big into that line yet.
I think that's a massive mistake.
Yeah, I feel like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that at 18. Or
no, I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe.
If they do not invest 80% of their resources in the trenches, they're making a massive mistake.
Yep.
Skill positions, screw it. We don't need skill positions. I don't care if they lose. I don't care if they lose T and Boyd. Joe Burrow will turn anybody that's average into above average if you give him time. Trent Irwin's a 1,000-yard receiver with Joe Burrow. I just believe that Burrow would do that.
And I know that sounds
standing up
to a degree that sounds outlandish, but when you realize, assuming Trent Irwin would play all 17 games,
it's 60 yards a game.
I don't even think it's that. It's 17. It's 58. Yeah, he's 50. That's one play for some of
it's
these
one
offenses.
play.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, for all the publicity that T. Higgins gets, he didn't do anything.
No.
He didn't show up. I remember he had that one play that was a crazy play where he did this, and he had the long run when we were already down by 3 touchdowns against who blew out Pittsburgh. But I really, for a guy that's on the precipice of making $25 to $30 million, it's not necessary. I hope to God, I wish they wouldn't even franchise him. Just stick with Chase, let Boyd retire or whatever he's going to do, let T move on, and just bring in Yoshi's probably okay. I mean, you're going to bring up a couple guys. You're going to draft a player. You can find these great receivers in the 5th and 6th round. You go to these schools nobody's heard of before, and these guys just play.
Mm-hmm.
It's the offensive and defensive line. If Burrow can sit back there for one more second, anybody can get open.
Look where Antonio Brown came from.
Central Michigan.
Right. Not really a powerhouse.
Look where Puka came from. I don't even know what school he came out of.
BYU.
Well, he was Utah, and he had like 3 schools he was at.
BYU was the last one.
Yeah.
I think he started at some kind of military school.
That long hair, I don't know.
No, I agree. They need to fortify trenches because here's the deal. Sam Hubbard's not giving you enough as a pass rusher. He's not. I love Sam. I love him to death. He's not giving you enough. Okay, and he's making a good chunk of money to not really give you enough. Okay, so there needs to be discussions with Sam Hubbard, and I don't think anybody really wants to hear that. No. But I always look at production per dollar, and with Sam, it's not good. Production per dollar, BJ Hill, it's closer, still not great. The only 2 on that defensive line that match their production per dollar, and one's currently a free agent with a blown-out quad, DJ Reader, and Trey Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I don't know how long Trey Hendrickson is going to last because it feels like it breaks his back every single game. So, I mean, he has no reason in terms of missed time for me to be like, I don't know, but he seems like he's hurt a lot.
This team needs to go out in free agency and get somebody like a TJ Watt.
Chris Jones.
They got to go get somebody that can team up with Hendrickson and just wreck games and close games.
I'll say this. I think they know that. Because do you remember who they tried to trade for in the preseason this past year? Aaron Donald. That became public knowledge around the 2nd or 3rd week of preseason that back in training camp, they were trying to trade for Aaron Donald.
Yep.
If they would have pulled that trade off, everybody would have been like, holy shit.
Yep.
Like, that's what we're working on. So it's not falling on deaf ears. The Bengals know that they have a pass rush problem. They know they have an interior pass rush problem. And they know that Jonah Williams is gone. I guarantee you he's gone at this point. Yeah. There's been zero positive anything regarding Jonah Williams over the last week or 2. And they got a bunch of nothing after BJ Hill and DJ Reader. Sample's done nothing. Carter's done nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther's done nothing. Osai, where we did find out he had a good win percentage, I'd have to really go back and watch the film, has done nothing. Murphy looks like he has a decently bright future. As of this moment, for guys on the roster that you can count on to give you a consistent pass rush, you have one guy. You need 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That one guy, he also can't stop the run.
Nope.
So you can't stop the run, and you got one guy that's a pass rusher. That entire front line needs completely redone.
I agree.
And there's a lot of money wrapped up in it right now to have to redo it. So this is now the issue you get to because it's hard to redo all of your trenches in one offseason. Do you try to piece the defensive line together with a couple veterans and fortify it and put the money into the O-line? or the other way around.
Well,
The
you
other way around
absolutely-
hasn't worked.
The O line has got to be where the first dollars are spent. You got to protect Burrow.
I agree.
The question I have, if you go after that stud defensive lineman, what do you have to give up to get him?
Money.
And are the Bengals willing to let go of all of that, whatever it is,
Yes.
to get him?
Because I guarantee you it's not going to be Chase. It's not going to be Burrow. And outside of that, I don't really care.
Just keep telling yourself Burrow's about to start his 5th season.
And
What's he going to play, 12, 13? I don't know. You can't count on it being 15 to 18.
You're getting close to being halfway done.
Yeah, you better do something.
He's going to be.
He can't do it on his own.
He's going to play until he's 45, like Brady. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Then he better stop getting hit.
I know. Invest in the trenches.
Yeah, Brady did it.
People.
Brady did it without too many star wide receivers.
It's because Brady didn't eat strawberries.
But yes, pink flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
elderberry.
But no, I think we all would agree that, and I don't know if we'd all agree on this. I think if you could do it again, I would still take Jamar Chase.
Yep.
Just because I know what he's done, and you don't go to the Super Bowl and have the chance that we did without Jamar.
Nope.
You just don't. But going into this year, if there's a top 5 receiver or a top 5 offensive lineman,
oh yeah,
you definitely take the lineman at this point.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I need 5 of them like we were back in the Sewell era.
Yeah.
You need one more good starter and some depth.
Yes.
Because you're close. Burrow had a top 5 in a good way pressure rate last year. He was right around 30%. Burrow's issue is sometimes he hangs onto the ball too long, gets sacked a little bit. I mean, the offensive line when Burrow was playing in 11 games was charged with 24 sacks. Not all of them were charged to the offensive line. There was about 20 sacks through 11 games. I can deal with that. That's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Especially once we found out that they're going under center now that they can have a quarterback that does it and the run game opened up. Now you mix Burrow into that. I mean, it's all going to be better on paper.
Put you about 30 or so, 32 or so sacks in a full year.
If you can stay under 35 sacks a year, that's kind of the magic number, which is 2 a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is what it is. And they're close to that right now. You need to find a right tackle, a regular, legitimate right tackle with length that's going to be able to slow down TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the other thing, because the Bengals have fallen now at this point. They've taken a step back. You build your team to win divisions. Once you win the division, you build your team to win a championship. We are no longer competing for a championship. We're back to the square where we need to win our division.
Well, I'm gonna add something here though. Did they play? They only played 2 quarters the entire season against the division with a healthy Joe Burrow.
I understand that.
That makes a massive difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference. But at the same time, you need to be able to win your division. And the way you win this division is slowing down Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. Those are the only reasons those guys win against us, is because Burrow's running around like a chicken with his head cut off half the time. Fortify that line, because the Chiefs don't scare me. The Bills are hot and cold.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody in the AFC right now that really scares me. If I've got a healthy Burrow with time to throw, I'll take my chances against anyone.
What about the Ravens?
I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Burrow was dicing them up before he blew out his thumb.
Yeah, we took the lead on the play. He got hurt.
Actually, I think we would have won that game if he didn't get hurt.
I think they were about to get boat raced.
Yeah.
I really do.
Gosh, you win half your division games. You're probably talking about us in the playoffs today.
If you win half your division games and I have 2 more wins and I'm sitting at 11-6,
Yep.
I have the number 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how close it is. Just fortify this line and keep Burrow healthy.
Yep, I'm with you.
And the
I'm gonna dip out of here. Not feeling all that great. Yes, I am an awful person. No, But keep on trucking. I'm gonna go lay down because I'm not feeling great. But love you guys.
Love
We
you.
will
Take
talk
care
to
of
you
yourself,
soon. Thanks everybody in the chat.
Yep.
See you guys.
See you, buddy. Take care of yourself.
I'm down here.
It was really small.
Yeah.
But I think everybody would agree trenches.
Yes.
And I unfortunately, I can't say everybody because I'm seeing a lot of shit where people are like, get the tight end from Georgia.
Yeah, Brock Bowers, no.
Don't care.
No, Santori, I was immature last year with that. No, I'm not doing that again.
Tanner Hudson is fine.
No, I want to get another tight end. Noah Fant. That's who I'd like. And he said he likes Joe Burrow, by the way. Give me a Noah Fant and I'm good to go. But not
Show me a receiver that doesn't like Joe Burrow.
Fair enough.
You're not going to have an issue getting guys to want to come catch passes from Joe, especially guys that are on 1-year deals who are trying to make something. You know, those guys that are in between contracts, they're going to take a 1-year bet on myself, $5 million deal. You're going to get all kinds of those over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. No, Bengal Dad.
That's what you got with Irv Smith. It just didn't work.
Yeah. No, Bengal Dad, I like Tanner Hudson, but I went true sample back, but I still think they should go try to find a tight end, another tight end. Just give me a guy that in the 3rd or 4th round, he doesn't have to be an all-star. Just give me a guy that's serviceable. That's all I ask.
So you want another Tanner Hudson?
Better than Tanner Hudson.
I think Tanner Hudson's pretty good.
Santori, I mean, no, you even said go out and get a tight end, right?
Another one.
Yeah, another one, but like
But Tanner Hudson would be my starter.
I want a blocking tight end.
We have Drew Sample.
I want another one. Until we can figure out how to run the ball, I want another one.
Mitchell Wilcox again.
I mean, I want to run the ball, and I'm going to try to make not a stupid statement. I want to run the ball for nearly 2,000 yards.
I'm not opposed to that.
That's about 120, 125 a game.
Yeah, that's not anything crazy.
I want that. We don't do that.
But Mixon, I don't want Mixon as my star running back. I want a committee. Is that crazy to say?
Mixon's going to get about 60 to 70%. It's not going to be this 85 to 90 that it has been.
Oh, it's
it needs to be an even split at the beginning of the year, and then maybe if they're both playing well, then Chad Brown needs to get more.
Chase Brown.
Chase, same thing. He needs to get more than Mixon, especially at the goal line. I don't like Mixon at the goal line.
Here's
a lot of touchdowns, but it takes him 4 times to get in.
Here is my want for the offseason.
Okay.
Because there's a bevy of them between the draft and free agency, and they're not going to cost you much. You might even get them undrafted free agents.
We're going to get you recorded here saying you want a running back in the draft.
I want a thick running back in the draft. And there are a lot of them. There are several pushing 230 to 240 this year. Get me that fucking sledgehammer on the goal line. And get me a goddamn fullback to lead the way.
Hey, you want a fullback now?
Sure. Give me one of those tight ends that can also do. Give me a Ryan Hewitt again. Someone that can line up at fullback and just. I need someone to blow open a hole on the goal line.
Don't the Niners and Ravens have a fullback?
Yes.
Yeah, what's the fullback's name?
Use Jack.
Yeah. I'll take. Give me. No, I mean I'm cool with that. I don't have any issues with that.
There's a couple big running backs.
The kid out of Florida State. Yep, I know that.
Well, you're gonna get him in the 2nd round. I'm not doing that. No, like, and this was floated around the other day, and it sounds really, really dumb on the surface until you kind of start looking at the numbers, and then it's like, I wouldn't mind that, because I've always said I would rather pay 3 or 4 running backs $3 to $4 million a year, and have a running back room at 15 million or less total, and just have 3 or 4 guys that I could count on, right? There's a running back who's a free agent whose market value is about $3.5 to $4 million this year.
I'd take him.
Would you take Derrick Henry for $3 million?
Yes. Yes.
I would be very tempted at $3 to $4 million to take a look.
Would Mixon have to go though if you get Derrick Henry?
No.
Oh.
Then you start doing your committee. You got a sledgehammer and all around back and your slasher.
Well,
you have a
would
three-headed backfield.
Would Derrick Henry be willing to come in though? You know, what if he wants to say, no, I want to be the lead back?
He ain't going to be a lead back for $4 million.
Okay. What about what do you do at Travion then? Do you let him walk?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah, that hasn't worked. His best days are when he can actually catch the kickoff and run with it.
But he was a great blocker on third downs for us, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Chase Brown can do that too.
Yeah, Evans has to go. Travion has to go.
If you could get a guy that is a proven veteran with a good track record for a couple million like that, doesn't have to be Derrick Henry. I know that's a huge name, but if that's truly his market value at $4 million for 1 year, sign me up. Because Chase Brown's making maybe 1 on a rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry would be 4. Mixon would be 8. You'd be at 13 for the whole room. And I know that seems heavy with Mixon, but for the entire running back room to have that kind of potential at that dollar amount, yeah, sign me up. Because Mixon can still catch you 40 to 50 passes a year. If you want to bring Henry in as a sledgehammer on 3rd and 1, you fixed that problem right away.
I'll tell you what, if there's another aging, sledging kind of running back that's out there like was it Latavius Bryant?
Latavius
Murray? Oh, my God. Every time I watch that guy play.
Leonard Fournette, he's going to be out there too again.
Yeah, he didn't play the whole year, though, did he?
Didn't he get cut from the Bills practice squad?
Let's see what he did.
I don't know, but I know Murray still looked good.
No, I like Murray. He's always been.
He had 12 rushing attempts this year, so we're going to move on from that one.
Yee.
But I would take an aging sledgehammer in the middle. I really, really would. And I'd pay, $3 to $4 million for it. I mean, I'm looking at the list right now. One of the names that immediately pops off is Deontay Foreman, the guy that sliced us up in the playoffs.
Who is he with again?
He's played for a few teams.
Okay.
Recently, Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, he had 500 rushing yards this year, and he's 230 pounds. I'd take a guy like that. I would take Kareem Hunt just because his legs never stop. A.J. Dillon.
You could call I like Dillon. Out of everybody you're talking about, I like Dillon the most.
Latavius Murray is a free agent if you want to go that route.
Why not?
Where's oh God, I forgot his name. Gore. He's probably 45. He can still run.
Hey, his son's in the draft this year.
His son is coming in, yeah.
His son's going to be a 6th or 7th round pick.
Can be Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr.
Let's do it. Back-to-back carries. No, but I mean, I would definitely go that route. I mean, if I had like my massive wish list, it would be a right tackle 1, sign DJ Reader back 2. Hopefully he's healthy. Get an interior lineman that can help as a veteran, a guy like an Ogunjobi or a Wallace Gilberry, because I think they're missing that.
Yep. I
would replace Nick Scott with either another rookie or another veteran. I would get a veteran corner. I don't worry about my linebacker room at all. I would probably draft another pass rusher for some camp competition. I would get a backup tight end, a sledgehammer of a running back, and draft a receiver late. And
you haven't touched the offensive line the whole time.
I said right tackle.
I didn't hear that.
That was the first thing I said. That was the very first one.
It was.
And then I would maybe look at upgrading left guard. Volson played great the second half of the year. I don't know what he's going to do next year, though.
I don't know if you could do it, but if I could get a number 2 draft pick for Jake Browning, I'm taking it.
Number 2?
If you can get a 2 for him.
Oh, you mean a second round pick?
I was going to say the second pick of the draft.
Holy hell!
Number 2, a round 2.
I was going to say no, Bengal Dad. I mean, yeah. No, I don't think they
would you take a second round pick for him?
Yes.
Yeah. In a heartbeat, I would. I would take McCarron back. I like Jake Browning, but yeah,
I wouldn't take a 4th for him because you got to have somebody behind Burrow.
I'd draft a quarterback with that fourth. Just boop. I think they'll
You
probably
didn't pick
put
up anything then.
Yeah, I know. I think he'd probably put a second-round tender on him and see what happens.
Yeah. Either way, we're going to get him back less than $1 million.
Probably.
915,000, I believe it is.
Well, we got all kinds of comments. We lost James. We haven't done sponsors. Nothing.
Uh-oh.
I love you, Jimmy, from Shelly. You have to have coaches to coach the trenches. We can bring in a player and they will be average with a new O-line coach. Without a new O-line coach. See, I understand why people say that. What have they given Frank to work with?
No, Santori, because remember,
Nothing.
What was it, the Texans, and who was the other team? It showed all their offensive line, each offensive line, like for like the Texans, like what was it, first,
They're
second?
all ones and twos.
Yep.
You know what the Bengals have? They have a free agent at left tackle who's a better right tackle, so he's out of position. Their left guard is out of position and was a fourth-round pick. Their center is a left guard by trade who is out of position. Their right guard is an average right guard who's making average right guard money. And their right tackle is a left tackle who sucked. They haven't gone out and filled the needs for the line one by one with either proper free agents or proper draft picks. They've piecemealed it together with some decent signings. Ted Karras has worked. Cap has worked. I think Brown is going to work. They went with a bargain maybe deal with Lael Collins, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They overdrafted on Jackson Carman because there was a run on lineman, and they got scared and took the next available one, and it didn't work. Instead of going out and getting a right tackle, they went out and got a right tackle, put him at left tackle, and moved their left tackle, who should be a guard, to right tackle. They're playing musical chairs on this offensive line and not truly fortifying it the correct way. And then people want to blame Frank Pollock when you haven't given him the proper tools. There's only so much you can do with below average guys who are out of position. Where's the first round stud offensive lineman that he's given? Because guess what? Everybody likes to point to his days in Dallas, and that's great because he's got the track record. He hasn't been given a Tyron Smith here. He hasn't been given a Zach Martin here.
No.
He hasn't. He was given Lael Collins, but guess what? They gave him a broken version of him. Everybody loves Troy Walters. Look what he's got to work with. Everybody loves Dan Pitcher. Look what he's got to work with.
But in June, you know what you're going to hear? It's a new Jackson Carman.
Oh, God.
You're going to hear it again.
You've got to give guys – it is rare. And I know everybody goes, oh, look at New England. Look at Cleveland. Those are the two greatest offensive line coaches in our era.
Yep.
We don't have a Hall of Fame offensive line coach. You have a normal offensive line coach. You need to give coaches talent. There's X's and O's, and there's Jimmys and Joes. They don't have the Jimmys and Joes. And the X's and O's that they're trying to run when Burrow gets hurt and they're putting weird schemes together get jacked up. You need to have a healthy system with a healthy Joe and get proper offensive linemen. And it starts this year by getting a regular ass right tackle, because all that's going to do is make Kappa look better, which is going to make Karras look better because he's not having to help out Kappa, who's helping out somebody else. They can each take care of their assignments all the way down the line. And now you use tight ends to chip or running backs to chip instead of having to put fucking Drew Sample on an island with TJ Watt. It's a domino effect, and they're not properly taking care of it. There's my ring.
No, I hear you.
Just take care of it. You've got money. You got time. You've got all the resources in the world. You don't need a quarterback. You don't need a receiver. You don't need corners. You don't need a number one pass rusher. You need one offensive lineman that's going to help the whole fucking thing. And that's it. Because as much as I don't really want to pay T, he's going to be back here next year. It's not going to be a long-term contract. It's 1 year, and they've got time to waste the money because Joe's still kind of cheap at $29 million. So if there's a year to do it, it's next year. You're going to have T, you're going to have Mixon, you're going to have Chase, you're going to have Tanner Hudson, you're going to have Chase Brown, you're going to have Joe. Get your fucking right tackle. It's not rocket science. You're a piece away on offense. You're one piece away on offense.
I agree.
It makes everything better.
Would a rookie right tackle satisfy you in the first round?
If it's the right one, yeah. There's one out there that I don't want, and I keep seeing mocked to us, and it scares me to death because it seems like the Bengal thing to do, and I don't want him. It's the kid from Georgia.
I thought it was Oregon State. Okay.
No, the kid Mims. You don't want him.
Oh, I liked him, man. He's a big dude. He can.
Greg, he's played 7 games in college in his career.
Really?
7.
Why is he then getting rated so high?
Because he's big and went to Georgia and played half his games as a senior.
Oh, hell no.
I don't want a guy that's only started 7 games.
No, I can't.
I got to protect Joe Burrow. 8 games ago was high school. Fucking Little Miami versus TJ Watt. Come on. Let's go. Give me someone regular. Give me the kid from Bama or the kid from Oregon State. Like, give me one of these guys that's just good. And if you got to trade up to number 7 to get him, so fucking be it. Make it happen.
I don't know, man. But if that corner Kool-Aid is sitting there, man,
No.
Just kidding. But yeah, Kool-Aid would be a cool name to have on the team.
If they don't trade offensive lineman, I say trade Joe Burrow. It doesn't make any sense to have Burrow without an offensive line.
The only other position outside of right tackle that I will accept in the first round is a stud interior defensive lineman.
So the Illinois kid.
Sure, whoever that is. It better be a stud on one line or the other. I don't want a linebacker, a safety, a corner, a running back, receiver, tight end, quarter. None of it. It needs to be someone who weighs at least 315 pounds.
I need a Joe Burrow bodyguard. That's what I want. That's what freaking Layout Collins was supposed to be, and he wasn't.
Yeah, now he's a Cowboy again. He went back.
Now go figure.
It's just fortify the line.
No.
We've been saying this now for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting better. They've made vast improvements. If you want to go look at the 2020 line compared to now,
right,
night and day. But there's still another day to go. You're about a C- right now. I need a B. And a right tackle, I think, is going to get me damn close to a B.
I agree. I'm not debating you.
Next
topic.
Wait, okay. Should we just go through all of our sponsors all at once? I mean, I'm ready to go. I can really talk.
Midway's best script, Three-Way City, and Brimminghorn. There we go. Sorry, guys. Quick one today.
Okay.
It's been at the bottom for the last hour.
Yeah.
All right, let's run through some playoff games here really quick.
Let's do this.
Packers and Niners.
Niners.
I know the Packers are hot, but it's
no. I love
Niners.
You, Jordan Love. We love you, man. But
until Brock Purdy and all that offense gets hurt again, seemingly in the same playoff game, I really think this is the Niners' year.
Yep. Dad, Bengal Dad.
Packers.
You just hate the Niners.
No, I do hate the Niners, but the Packers in the Houston. Those are the two teams that.
No, I'll be happy.
They're playing hot. They're playing well. Buccaneers and Lions. Give me D-Town. Detroit.
Man, I really want to see Cleveland get tipped on Baker, but I got to go to the Lions.
I'm fucking pulling for Detroit, man. I know. I know it's that. I don't want to see another team win it and that list dwindle down to just me. But man, it feels good to watch them win.
Yes,
because I've been there. There's empathy there, and I get it.
You know what I think the Achilles heel is going to be for Detroit?
Goff.
Yeah.
He's not great.
The moment's going to get too big. Something's going to happen.
He's been to a Super Bowl.
It's
I'll
really
give
going
him
to be
that.
too big.
So are you saying Bucks, Bengal Dad?
No.
All right.
No, I'm saying Lions. I just don't think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl.
I'll say Lions.
Texans at Ravens. I'll go
Texans.
I want the Texans, but
I'm
there's
going
a
Texans.
difference. But no, I want I'll say Texans, but
I will say that CJ Stroud is better than Lamar Jackson. He's a better quarterback.
I would have picked him for my MVP.
If you had to start your franchise today, who are you starting him with?
CJ. No, if CJ Stroud didn't get hurt, Bengal Dad, I'd say he's my MVP, but it's going to be Lamar. But no, I that's a bold statement, buddy.
I'm going to go Texans, seriously. I know there's some facetiousness with Bengal Dad saying Texans.
No, I want Texans.
We all just hate Baltimore, and I get that.
Hey, I had this question posed to me the other day.
Can I do my little take really quick?
Sure.
As much as I think Baltimore is a legitimately good team, because I do. I think right now, to me, they're the number 2 team in the NFL behind San Francisco, and I really don't think it's a 2. I think it's a 1A, 1B kind of thing. Any given day, I think they could be number 1. However, until Lamar Jackson looks good and wins a playoff game in regular fashion, which right now, if you look at the numbers, he and Andy Dalton have identical passing numbers in the playoffs.
Right.
Until he steps up, I can't bet on it. To me, that's the definition of insanity, is expecting something different. He has shown time and time again. Now, maybe this year's the year. You know, they look good and they're healthy. They're getting Mark Andrews back. You know, maybe this is the year it comes together and they hang up fucking 50 points on somebody. It wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, it also wouldn't surprise me if they just look like crap and he throws 2 picks. He has a tendency to play terrible in the playoffs. And until that goes away, I have reason to believe it will continue. Okay, Bengal Dad question.
Somebody just posed a question to me the other day. Would you trade Stroud for Burrow?
No.
I wouldn't yet. If give it another year to year and a half, and let's see what's going on. Stroud looks remarkable to me. I remember I first saw him in college. I was blown away by Stroud as a freshman. And he had a couple subpar games near the end of his career at Ohio State. I've never seen a guy more accurate than him. I always hear how accurate Burrow is. This guy, it doesn't matter if he's moving left, if he's moving right, if he's on his back foot, if he's running forward, he is spot on accurate. And they're not dinks and dunks. I think he's going to carve up the Ravens. They're going to run right past him. They think they're going to get him. He's going to step up in the pocket, and he think he's going to find deep shots downfield. That's what I think is going to happen.
Very well could. It's not out of the question because that's what he's done to everybody the whole year.
And I hope a year and a half from now I'm saying, thank God we have Burrow.
Yeah.
But I got to see Burrow not get hurt.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the Texans. I'm pulling for the Packers, and I'm pulling for the Lions. And I know 2 of those fall under that category of have never won it. But that's who I'm pulling for. Chiefs and Bills.
Buffalo.
Hey, Glenn, you're watching this. We're pulling for you, buddy. Hopefully the snow won't be as bad again for you guys.
I don't know if I'm pulling for Glenn. I just hate Kansas City.
No, I hate Kansas City too, yeah.
It's
I'm just hoping Taylor Swift's at the game and she can watch her boy lose. I wonder if her boy will retire with his brother.
No, I think he's going to retire.
You think Travis is going to retire?
I have a feeling he will.
Okay. Well, there goes Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, I know. But like, if you look
Taylor
at
probably has said to him, if you retire, I'll marry you.
Well, he's not been playing as. If you guys noticed, they have not been playing him as much at times. So he's not in it as much as he used to be.
They pull him out for a few plays.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
he's getting old. He is. His body's breaking down. Tight end's a tough position.
And he's dropping a lot of passes.
He's
not playing all that well.
He's not. All right, we haven't done this segment in a minute, and I don't know if you're ready for it.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God, I've had 2 months to be not grinding. Now I got to grind.
Oh, you got to have something.
You got to be mad about something.
I need a minute. I've been saying it all night. I'm mad. I'm mad that the Bengals haven't given the offensive line the true consideration that it's needed the last 3 or 4 years. They've got a generational quarterback, somebody we've never had at that position that can lead us to the Super Bowl and to multiple Super Bowls. I still believe that. But he cannot do it alone. And it's like they don't even care if they put him in harm's way. And I scratch my head on that one. If you're not going to protect Joe Burrow, I'm not sure why you have a football team. So that's what grinds my gears. Not to the level of I'm not angry to the screaming level or anything like that. But God darn it, why don't they find 2 or 3 superior offensive linemen? Invest $75 million a year in that offensive line. Do whatever it takes to let Burrow put up 45 and 50 points a game and see if somebody can catch us. That's what I want to see.
I hear you.
I believe it. I believe one day we will see a line with Burrow and a great receiver. I do think at some point we're going to see an offense that rivaled the year that Peyton Manning had with Denver, where it was like, holy shit, they're just blowing everybody out of the water. I think that Burrow's got that potential. I really do.
I just worry if Zach
up front.
I'm not sure if Zach has it. He's too conservative.
We'll find out.
We'll find out, but he is awfully conservative.
Yeah, one thing I want to add on. I look at the schedule for next year. Look, we've learned this year it's any given day. This team could easily be good next year. Next year, man, compared to this year's schedule, our schedule is very, I don't want to say easy, but very manageable.
We earned it. We earned it by playing bad.
I know, but I'm just saying it's very manageable. Let's put it that way.
There's no such thing as an easy schedule in the NFL. There are favorable schedules, but none of it's easy.
Yeah.
Which is really hypocritical because I will say the Bengals had the hardest schedule in the NFL this year. And that's not by me being bitter. That is just by strength of schedule. They were legitimately the hardest schedule. And kudos to Zach. Hardest schedule in the NFL. Hurt Burrow for first half of the year. Then he had a backup quarterback the second half of the year, and they still had a winning record.
Yep.
That's one of those jobs that if Mike Tomlin would have done it, everybody would be going, look at the Steelers. Zach deserves some credit for that one.
Yes, he does.
That's 3 straight winning seasons. That hasn't happened too often in Bengal history.
Nope.
Marvin got 5 toward the end. I don't think has it happened before that? Because when we went on that 5-year run, that was like historical context for us.
Oh, yeah, it was.
So, I mean, kudos to Zach. As much as people want to bitch about him, the only complaint I have about Zach is sometimes his play calling gets a little conservative.
Yep.
Outside of that, I'm glad he's my coach. I really am. He's a good coach.
I just wish he wasn't my offensive coordinator.
I wish somebody else was a little bit more aggressive calling plays. I like the design of the offense. I don't like the use of the offense, if that makes sense.
It does.
Next.
I think we're done.
We done?
Hour 15.
I know I'm done.
You're the one that's always wanting to peace out in 30 minutes, so you just going next.
Let's go.
Next. Does anybody have anything that they want to promote, talk about, share, show and tell?
Well,
I need memorabilia.
You ain't got nothing.
I'm empty.
I have nothing either.
Have you thought about what your new corner is going to look like?
My new corner?
Yeah, whenever you start jumping on the podcast and wherever you're going.
No, I have no idea. All my memorabilia, everything I have are in boxes, and they're going to be in boxes for probably a number of years.
We have a very, very bland Bengal Dad house.
Santori, I think I think he even said, like, we posted, tell the charity that's getting started, that seat charity and all that and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm terrible at this.
Project Game Day.
Yeah, Project Game.
So that I really haven't had too much to do with it. I kind of went to bed one night and woke up, and Bengals and Bourbon took it over, and I woke up, and I guess we're working on LLCs and all the stuff now. But basically, Project Game Day is a collaboration between a few fans and two podcasts, notably us and Bengals and Brews. Basically, we plan on donating 2 tickets to every game to either a veteran or an adult with disabilities to every single Bengal game. We have started raising funds. We are working on a couple of events. Nothing is official yet, but it's looking like it's going to be pretty set in stone here soon. We'll have some news there. We do already have 4 sets of tickets to 4 of the 8 home games next year. So we're almost done getting tickets. We've got some good ideas and some plans, but basically we want to try and help get people who, deserve to go to a game that might not be able to get there. And one thing that we are working on that I will go ahead and announce, Dale Altman from Bengals and Brews and I are currently working on a draft guide for the 2024 draft. Hi, Bailey. As my beagle runs in. We're probably about 25% of the way done. We have accumulated notes and watched over 230 players already. So, I mean, you think about a draft as 255. We're trying to dial it back to 150, but there's some guys in there that we just want to keep. So we're probably going to hang around 200 to 220. Like I said, Dale's done watching. I've watched about 100, so I've got about 100 more to watch. He's got all his notes. I've got half of mine. We've already started the documents for it. We are going to put that up with a paywall. It will be $1, and that goes toward the charity to help raise money for tickets and giveaways and raffles or whatever we're going to do. But $1 for a 250-page draft document that has hundreds of man hours put into it, I think is a pretty good deal. And that goes for any team. It's for everybody. It's going to include needs for all 32 teams, round projections for all 200 and plus players that we're doing. But we're working on a couple ideas right now, but it's moving along. So if you want to give Project Game Day a follow on Twitter, that is us. Pretty sure James runs the account. So just hang along with us as we get this going. So for those of you that are curious of everybody involved, it's me, Greg, Bengal Dad, James, and then the guys over at Bengals and Brews. So Dale, Derek, Pork Chop, Hude Joe, Kieran, if you're familiar with him, Bengals and Brews, and I'm probably forgetting somebody else. If I am, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head. But there's like 10 or 15 of us, and we're all just trying to, give back and do good for people that want to go that don't necessarily get to.
Yep.
Long-winded answer. Project Game Day. Dad, where are you watching the draft this year?
I'm sure I'm watching in my living room.
Okay, I'll be there. Round 1.
There may not be enough chairs.
I'll sit on the floor with Ashley.
Well,
Round 1. You ready?
By the way, I need your help soon. I need to hang some TVs.
I'm good at that. I did that one. I can do TVs.
But I see wires. I don't like wires.
They're just dangling. They're not. There's also a dog. I did the TV in my living room. I think I did pretty good there too. You didn't teach me many handyman things around the house, but you taught me how to hang TVs and picture frames pretty well. And spackle the wall when you throw a remote through it.
Wish you would have done that with me. You know how many pictures I've had to move or cover up stuff. You know how many holes I have in this wall right now? It's unbelievable.
That looks good, Greg.
I did a terrible job and all that.
It's like a giant collage almost. It looks good.
Well, thank you pretty much. No, thank you really much and all that and stuff, man. Just got the helmet hung up right here. I'm just more nervous now to leave my house now. So
I'm trying to think what handyman stuff you taught me. And this is the weird thing about Bengal Dad, right? Because people have kind of probably pieced together that he's a business manager. Not going to say for where, because we do try to keep some of our private life private. But I'll say this: we built a home theater when I was like 8, like almost entirely by ourselves. Like we had an unfinished basement. We just went down there with 2x4s, drywall, and started going.
could you make me a bet? I'm actually being serious on live show. I got 4 or 5 baseball bats: Larkin, Perez, Rose, Bench. Do you know how to make a back rack, like a stand-up bat rack?
I've never done it. I'm sure I can do it, but I've never done it.
You made a wine rack out of nowhere.
Oh, that's close enough then.
You did the You did the shutters on your house.
I seriously need a bat rack, though. No, if you can, it's no big deal.
He's a little carpenter down there.
Carpenter bee. I want to be a carpenter. I want to be a carpenter. You're
good. If I publish some of the stuff that you put out there, like that wine rack that was really, really good, and the fact that, like, Greg, you've seen the home theater. You know the wood that goes around the screen downstairs.
Sure.
It's got that burned wood aesthetic.
Yeah.
That was all him. He stained all that.
Well, Kim did it too.
Well, yeah.
What got you into doing that? Just a hobby?
Just wanted to look.
No, that's great.
He came home with a flamethrower and said, "Look at this," and we're just running around the basement with a flamethrower.
Now, are you a good cook too, or can you cook like?
No,
he can't cook like he cooks a better steak than I do.
Well, there you go.
I tend to be a little more dainty and try different things when I'm cooking steak. He just does the one way that he knows, and it's pretty good. He does steak well. No one butters a piece of bread like he does, let me tell you. It's a masterpiece.
No one spreads peanut butter like you do.
No, we need to do that live on the show one day. Just the aesthetic of Bengal Dad and his peanut butter.
Yeah. One thing I do want to add, Hall of Fame voters coming up, we got to get Willie Anderson, and we need to do what we got to do to get Willie in. This is just a disgrace. Bengal Dad, I think you guys can agree, best right tackle in the 90s, one of the best right tackles of all time. Let's hope this happens. We got to get Willie in the Hall of Fame this year. This needs to happen.
It's one of those things that when I think back to watching him, because that was one that I did get for a good chunk of my childhood. Because I started watching around 2002. Willie came in the league, 96?
Yes.
So he was very much entrenched by the time I started watching. He was the first offensive lineman I knew. And I watched him up through the time that he ended in Baltimore. So I got the second half of his career. And I knew he was one of the guys, and I knew he was a really, really good one. Never crossed my mind once when he was playing that this is a Hall of Fame right tackle. Then when you go back and look at the data of, like, gave up 16 sacks in 15 years and went up against guys like Reggie White, it's like, damn, like, yeah, like he did a lot of really, really good stuff for a long time from a right tackle position that doesn't get a whole lot of love. So, he looking at it from that perspective, he probably gets in. I don't know if it's this year, but I think he probably does deserve it.
How many more chances does he have till he's on the what's it called if you have so many chances?
I don't know. They've been giving Ken Anderson chances for like 50 years.
But this needs to stop. But this has to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think a lot of people are going to be upset that I say that. But it's a loaded ballot this year. There's a lot of good names on that ballot. Quite frankly, all of them deserve it.
That's true.
My dog just pooped.
Oh.
It smells.
All right. Well, I'm running out of steam anyway, so it's a perfect time to end.
All right.
Yay! We got to – hold on. James isn't here. Where's it at?
I don't.
There it is.
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. ready or not.